Get More from the Cloud, a podcast by AWS cloud experts at Ingram Micro Cloud.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another podcast of Get More from the Cloud. My name is Tad Davis. I'm one of your co-hosts today, and I'd like to say hey to Eric McKinley. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good, Tad. How are you?
Doing all right, my man. So give us a little bit of background and introduce our guests here.
All right, great. Well, this is episode 5. We're going to dive into our professional services here within Ingram as we continue our Get More from the Cloud podcast series. And with that, we've got 2 special guests. It is Chris Squared. So we'll start with Chris Savage, and then we'll introduce Chris Kessick. And I'm going to turn it over to them right now to give a friendly introduction on who they are and what their titles are and how we navigate Ingram Micro's professional services within our offerings to our partners. So Chris Savage, let's start with you.
Thank you, Eric. This is Chris Savage. I'm the senior manager for our professional services technical consultants. My team helps our partners with technical questions on the pre-sale side. So we're happy to engage with your end clients and come up with solutions for your clients as they move into the cloud. Mr. Kessick.
Yeah, and I'm Christopher Kessick. I'm the Director of Cloud Solutions Architecture on the delivery side. So I'm responsible for all the teams and pods that bring the professional services to our channel partners and their customers.
Hey, that's fantastic. And welcome, gentlemen. If you remember the old Budweiser hot seat, it's not going to be that intense, but we do have some questions teed up for you as we want to go ahead and really educate our partners and many of the folks that we interact with daily. So one of the first questions we want to come up with is just talking about why is professional services so important for cloud partners?
Right. Awesome. Great question. So for our partners, one of the major things that we want to do is help grow the ARR. We want to leverage skills and enable practice development, complement the skills of our partners to help assess, design, and implement, solution areas. And our main goal is to help accelerate ARR for our customers by using our technical knowledge and just to complement the ability that our partners have when they are building solutions for their end customers. We see that in the market, digital transformation, pandemic, things have gotten really accelerated. And, 90% of end customers are actually looking to use a partner in their delivery. That's up from like 60% just 2 years ago. Trying to find talent is very difficult at this point. A lot of open positions. There's actually like 90,000 open DevOps positions. So, we're here with our team with a bench to be able to deliver these projects with the resources, so you don't need to worry about hiring.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that, professional services really helps drive consumption and makes your end customers sticky to you as a partner. What we see here from our partners here with Ingram Micro using our professional services, they see generally for every dollar spent, a 4x return on consumption. So it certainly drives additional revenue above and beyond just the project revenue that you could charge for doing the projects for your end clients. Stickiness within customers is another big point for using professional services. You get into a customer's environment, become their trusted advisor and partner, and leverage Ingram Micro to extend those capabilities that either your team doesn't have natively or you're trying to develop. All of these things are really going to help drive additional consumption and add to that bottom line revenue that we're all interested in doing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And just to kind of recap a couple of things that stood out, if I heard you correctly, you talked about complementing the skills of our partners. That really stands out. And then if I heard this one correctly as well, is this right? 4 times consumption for every dollars of pro services?
That is correct. So Forrester and some of the other big research firms have done countless studies showing how much professional services drives additional consumption. And what we see is that additional consumption is either through new workloads or optimized workloads, converting applications from all IaaS to some PaaS. All of those things help drive additional consumption and provide that stickiness that your end clients are going to end up with if you do professional services for them.
Wow. I guess you can almost drop the mic with that one. But, we have a couple more questions, we'd really like to get your insight on.
So, I want to jump in. This one's kind of really relevant. So I'm in Toronto this afternoon, spent a few days up here with our Canada team, and it's been really great. And I met a partner earlier today, and they had a really great question. They're like, "Hey, Tad, so we're a small shop. We need to learn AWS. We don't have the technical skills in there yet. So what, maybe you can help out addressing that partner's question, which was really like, we don't have an AWS professional services bench, but we've got, a professional services bench. But how can Ingram help us? How can you help us augment or enhance what we currently bring to market?
That is exactly what we see ourselves as for our partners. None of our services are sold directly to end clients. We sell only to partners. And usually the use case is either the partner doesn't have the capabilities in-house, so they need our expertise and talent to come in and perform these projects for their end customers. The other most common scenario is, just supplementing your bench. One of the areas I like to consult with partners on is leveraging our teams to do what I like to call not necessarily value add services or higher value services. If you think about doing a migration project, I think one of the worst things you can have your engineers or architects do is click the button that actually moves the data from the on-prem environment to the cloud. And so by farming that out to Ingram Micro, your teams, your internal teams can focus on delivering that high value service to your end clients. I think it's really important to understand that leveraging us for augmenting your bench, be it just for capacity reasons, for skills reasons, or just to keep your teams busy on delivering really important engagements for your end clients, is super important. I'm sure Mr. Kessick has a point of view on that.
Yeah, definitely. I think even as an add-on, as you're building your practice, you got to look at the advisory services that we bring to the table. Content to help you as a partner understand what certifications you should have as a group, as a partner, and competency. So we provide guidance on how to build your practice, how to build up your skills. And this is all our complimentary advisory services to you to build your practice.
Another good question comes up, especially when somebody may be a smaller partner and they're like, hey, so which comes first? Do I get somebody that, do I get them all certified up and they have the technical skills to be able to deliver the work? Or do I first, get the salespeople skilled up on how to sell AWS and, hire in that way? Like, do I hire in either one of those areas first, or is it kind of a coordinated effort, I guess?
Well, from my perspective, I think what partners can leverage us for is both motions. So we have a pre-sales team that works under me that can help with that sales motion, help guide the conversations with your end clients on how to approach the cloud, what are the best initial projects to move into the cloud. And then, we can help advise your teams on learning paths, especially around, picking a cloud, doing certifications for specific clouds. The other areas I think that we excel in as your distribution partner is providing you training materials for your employees. We have a really extensive training program. We are offering all kinds of different webinars, seminars. We have discounts available through Ingram Micro for a Cloud Guru, which is a premier platform for learning as well as learning management. They've got some great tools in there for that. So as you consider how you want to grow your practice and take on, the cloud, if you will, and you're a smaller partner and you've never done this before, give us a call. We're happy to walk you through kind of step by step what it's going to take and get some of those initial cloud workloads from your clients and show you the way and the path to the cloud.
Cool. Thanks. Good feedback. Appreciate that. Eric, you got a question for the team?
Not really a question, I guess just a statement. So I guess when it comes to the answer of that question, right, the chicken and egg discussion, which comes first? Sounds like the answer is yes.
The answer is Ingram. That's the chicken or the egg answer, right? It's Ingram Micro.
Yeah, which is a great segue because we want to talk about how Ingram Micro can help based on partner needs. And you said something a little bit ago about the most common scenario is our ability to supplement the bench of our partners. And there's something that always seems to stand out. It's that mantra of never say no. Could you kind of share with our partners and our friends what that really means?
Sure. In my mind, that means taking on any kind of project that your end customers might want to undertake. And never saying no means relying on our professional services team under Chris Kessick to take on and perform those projects. Chris, you want to talk about our resources and how we can help the never say no mantra?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. We have resources located various locations throughout the world, skilled up in different technologies, different clouds, AWS especially, and the other ones too. And these people are training all the time, working on projects in those specific technologies. So they've probably seen what it is that you're looking for, what your customer is looking for. So tap into us and let us run the projects. You have the ability to participate as much as you want and learn about how we deliver it. And you also have the option to hand it 100% over to us. But we, where you're wanting to, shoulder surf all you want and learn how we do things. And then you can implement that in your own business.
Chris, you want to talk a little bit about our pricing model for professional services? Because I do think that's another competitive advantage we have.
Yeah. The core premise behind our pricing is that it's outcome based, right? So we work on you with the scope and your customer on what needs to be done, and we'll quote that out to you. And we do not charge by the day or by the hour. It's all outcome based. So projects sometimes get extended out 3, 4, 6 months, even a year. You pay for the scope of that work. If there needs to be a change order because the customer needs something new, so be it. But otherwise, we hold ourselves to that price, and that's what we charge you. So it's a lot more economic than someone that's going to charge you for every hour that someone is assigned to your project. We charge you for what we've scoped out and what we've actually worked on.
Yeah, I think that's such a great model for our partners because it creates economic certainty. And if you've been in professional services for a long time, you know most projects come with a great deal of economic uncertainty. So I do think that's a great value for our partners in considering Ingram Micro as their services partner.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that input. And that's a great thing, right? Like it's that economic certainty. I just want to reiterate that. I love that phrase, but it's really going to help our partners moving forward. So I wanted to take a different spin on this a little bit when we're thinking about how we can help partners go to market. What do we do with that? Is the first step really getting into assessing like an end customer's environment? Is there a way that we can help them do that?
Yeah, when the partner's identified an opportunity with the customer and we go in to help them start their planning for moving to the cloud, for lack of a better term, we want to get into some strategy sessions, some business transformation case, really find out the drivers behind why this customer will be wanting to move to the cloud. Run some enablement sessions with them. And directly on the AWS side, there are migration tools that we use for this. So we do some lightweight assessments for cloud readiness, which builds a heat map of where the customer is strong and where they're not. It's a set of predefined questions and, gives some prescriptive guidance on how you can kind of get yourself kick-started on the road. So some lightweight assessments at that first stage is called CART, or even a heavier weight assessment for someone that knows that they're going in, which would be like a TCO assessment using the migration evaluator tool, where we can actually see how can we right size the environment? What is it truly going to cost in AWS, and not just a like for like? And for big Microsoft customers or people that have a lot of SQL Server licenses, just Microsoft licenses in general, an OLA is very important to do, and it can unlock a whole bunch of other savings that we're going to talk about shortly.
So, and if usually a lot of end customers, they're like, hey, I need to test this concept out before I buy. Do we have that kind of capability to help out our partners with that concept?
We do. We have two different offerings, depending upon the depth of the POC environment. If a partner wants to just test, a simple workload, maybe 1 or 2 servers, a backend SQL server, my team can help helping them set up those environments. And that's a complementary service for customers that are consuming through Ingram Micro, and their partners are with us. Additionally, if it's an in-depth proof of concept, let's say they want to test a full, development style, full end-to-end test, then our Center of Excellence team can handle setting up the full project. They treat it as a complete project. It is a paid engagement, but at the end result is everyone walks away with confidence that we can move this workload to the cloud. It's going to perform as well as it did on premises, or more than likely better than it could ever do on premise. So certainly, if partners have end customers looking to do proof of concepts in the cloud, it's definitely a service that we provide to them to help them get customers moved to the cloud.
I think some partners, like, they almost need a map for these kind of things, right? And I'm having a pun with words, kind of fun with words there, because AWS does have the concept of map. So Eric, can you explain a little bit about what that is? And we'll talk to the guys about how that can help our partners.
Yeah, it's really one of our funding options available to partners. It's our AWS Migration Acceleration Program. Certainly that comes to mind when we talk about the options our partners have. But I'd like to kind of kick it over to the Chris's, right, to see what they might be able to say from a services standpoint to elaborate even further on that program.
Sure. So MAP is a great program for customers moving workloads into AWS. There are 3 phases. So there's an assess phase that can be fully funded, providing funds for, as Chris Kessick was talking about just a minute ago, that assessment phase. And that allows us to do a deep dive into an on-premise environment, run the migration tools that AWS has for end clients, develop a total cost of ownership for the cloud, and then present a plan to get the migration completed into the cloud. Chris, you want to talk about the rest of the phases?
Yeah, so the assess is a pretty quick phase just to make sure that in this rapid program, which is an acceleration program, that we can quickly get things moved into the cloud. So that TCO report and a migration readiness assessment for the company will say, where do we need to focus as we head into the mobilize phase? That's the second phase. In this phase, it's also sort of time bound in maybe a 2 to 3 month period where we're going to do the more detailed migration planning, look at building out the landing zones, looking at the customer's skills, potentially helping them build out a center of excellence, solidifying the new operating model, and doing a few migrations, kind of like some lifts and shifts. Let's get some experience in this scenario with this customer's operating model, how that works. So we're really building readiness through experiences in the mobilize phase. Once this is done, we're pretty much prepared to now rapidly run different waves of migration and then to operate and optimize, right? So the final phase, you don't know for a customer how many workloads they have, how many environments. This is typically more ambiguous on how long it's going to take, right? It depends on the size of the environment. But mobilize has happened, you have a great plan, and now you're just executing on it. And this is kind of like the MAP program was developed by AWS, and it's been used in thousands of migrations. So it's kind of like the best framework that they have seen, right? Or they have put together, I should say.
Yeah, and what's nice about the mobilize phase is AWS will pay up to half of the cost of a statement of work, depending upon the size of the migration, as well as the statement of work. If you contact your Ingram Micro representative, we'll give you more details on the specifics of the MAP program as it relates to our clients. And the MAP program is available to any of our AWS partners. Even if you don't have the MAP competency within AWS, you can apply for MAP funding for your end clients through Ingram Micro as an Ingram Micro partner, delivering services and doing resale through Ingram Micro. So it's a fantastic program available to our AWS partners.
Yeah, Chris, it's interesting. I thought you said up to half, but maybe I misheard.
I did say up to half of a statement of work. It's pretty impressive.
That's amazing, and thank you for reiterating that key point.
To really put a bow on it, though, we're talking about an assess phase, a mobilize phase, and then a migrate and modernize phase, right? I think that's really important for partners to understand. And those can be like 3 separate projects, right? It's not one contiguous project that goes on, but it's 3 separate projects that go through that whole kind of phase. I did want to wrap us up with something a little fun, taking a cue from Jimmy Buffett here. So it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. So Friday afternoon, when it hits 5 o'clock, what do you guys care to drink, or what's your drink for today, I should say?
I think today I'm going to go have a nice glass of Woodford Reserve bourbon on the rocks. It's my drink of choice for today.
Oh man, I wish I could join you. If I could, I'd probably just take a simple Bud Light. But in the life of professional services, we got 2 migrations going on this weekend. So I'll join you next time.
I think for me, Tad, I think it's just going to be an ice cold glass of iced tea at this point. It's been a little bit of a long day. It's warm out there. Still feels like summer. So I think that might be the order of choice.
Yeah, and I have a lot of choices. There's an airport bar, so I'll have to figure that one out. Although I'm in Canada, so I probably should pick like a Canadian whiskey or something like that, right? So we'll see how that goes and everything. But Eric, it's been great having you with me again. Love doing these podcasts with you. Chris Squared, Mr. Keswick, Mr. Savage, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been great. Eric, you want to wind us out of here?
Yeah, a lot of fun, great discussions there. I know that we've got another podcast upcoming, so stay tuned as we unveil that topic here very soon. But really just, gentlemen, again, just appreciate the time so much. The 2 Chris's, I don't think we'll get that first name confused anywhere anytime soon. And then Tad, as always, we'll see you on the other side.
Hey, Eric, I wanted to bring up, if partners are interested in learning more, they can go to now.ingrammicrocloud.com and sign up for some additional information. And one of our representatives will be getting in touch with you soon. Thanks.
Yeah, I love that
Fantastic.
because that's great. That's a good way to wrap us out. Thanks for being here for this session, everybody that's listening in for Get More from the Cloud. And like Eric said, we'll see you guys on the flip side for our next session.
Thanks for listening to Get More from the Cloud, a podcast by AWS cloud experts at Ingram Micro Cloud.